So these are plaster molds that I have made from these pieces of plasticine that were pressed into my body molds. And this is now going to allow me to have a much better repetition of forms. I went through and found the really nice textures that I wanted. Like, see here, we got some good skin texture, and that's going to get recreated down in this one. And what that'll do is it'll allow me to keep using these bits and pieces for making my tumblers, which is great because the original plaster molds I made from the bodies are starting to break down because I've just been using them way too much, and they really weren't designed for multiple uses like this. See one of the flasks that I made. This particular one is made with wood and held together with clamps. This one actually I just made from some aluminum sheeting I had lying around, and I used a couple of clamps to hold it to the wood. But we'll go ahead and we'll crack this one open. So one, oops, I fell. Two, and really, ooh, it was almost my toes. It pretty much just opens up after that on its own. I really need to make better coddle boards, but you know, I'm just getting back into doing all this casting business, so threw together with what I had. But as you can see, the pieces just come right off. I just put a little bit of the plasticine around the edges just in case there's going to be like leakage, which luckily there hasn't been any. And now I have to fight a little bit. I forgot to wax this particular, wax this particular board before, for the second time before casting the plaster. So let me just set this down for a second. Here, you can watch me fight. Or I can knock you on the ground. Okay, break out the tool. Hopefully there we go. So, as you see, pops right off. You can see texture here that it picked up from the wood. And if I had actually been smart and used a little bit of a release agent, I wouldn't have had to do that little fight there. But let's see what this one looks like. And here we go. So here you can see the texture of the skin that came off the person and the rope over the skin there. And then you can see the reverse of it placed in there. So, like I say, if you need to make things that are going to be repeatable, plaster is, of course, a fantastic way of doing this. Doesn't take a lot. I think I did these 4 with, there's 11 pounds of plaster. You can, of course, look those things up online. I used 8 pounds of water, 11 pounds of plaster, thereabouts, which is pretty close to what they recommend, and 4 quarts of water rather, and 11 pounds of plaster. And that's what you get. Nice molds that are repeatable. Cool. This is the last mold I have to open up. And they will then, of course, sit for a couple of weeks to fully dry before I actually get a chance to really use them. But, bam. So you can see all the detail pulled from the original plaster mold. There's the skin of the hand, plaster wrap texture, all the way in the knuckles and the fingernails. And now you can see the negative of it right there. So I'll get that same texture you see here on my clay that I'm going to be putting into my tumblers and cups and sculptural pieces. So that's how it's done. Really, again, easy to do. So yeah, if you need to make multiples of something, plaster, again, like I said, is the way to go. And go make yourself some things out of clay.